I can make sure I can share it with people who are not here. So we're talking about social media today. I've got kind of a bit of a curriculum I want to go through, but are there any specific questions that you would like guidance on or help with? Helen, you mentioned something in the group. What was that question again?
Oh, just like I had heard different things about frequency, like people are saying put 4 posts a day, or how much is live versus stagnant, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay, that's a great question. Craig, did you have anything specific?
Yeah, not very exciting, but one of the things that you had talked about before, and you had showed how to post, like for instance, a blog post within LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
But you also said that it should include I think you said a photograph or something along with it, so that it gets, I forget the reason why you were saying.
Well, people are more likely to
or
click
an
on
image of some kind.
Yeah, people are more likely to click on something or even read it if there's an image that goes with it. So
right.
If you're sharing a blog post, typically it will feed whatever image is connected to that blog post into your LinkedIn post. But if you're just writing something, but you don't have a link, then there's a good chance you would want to have a picture that you would add to that post.
Right. So when I was there, we looked at my website and the way the blogs were, and you showed me how to, I don't know, import or whatever that blog post. But the blogs don't have any images, so I'm not sure how you plant an image in the blog post or how you add an image to your blog post.
Right.
Whatever.
We'll do that when we get to your website, but it's
within
something
within LinkedIn. Are you talking about within LinkedIn? Like, are you posting on LinkedIn?
Yes.
As a blog, yeah.
I'm not posting.
You can insert
yet.
images.
I'm just kind of following.
I think you want to have your blog post, which is written, but you want to have a picture that's part of that. And so then when you share that link on LinkedIn, so let's hear,
yeah, I have a bunch of articles, and I usually just put the one photo at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can embed images within as well. But
so I'll share my LinkedIn.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So if I were to go to my blog, just got to move my screen a little bit here. Clicked on this one, copied and pasted this is what you want to do. You want to copy and paste that URL in the top.
Right.
And then you post it here. And because I have this image in my blog post, it automatically populates it here. But if I didn't have a picture here, it would come up empty. It would just have it would just show kind of the link. So that's where you want to do that. You can also, you can have a link here and then click on the picture and add something. So there's a few things you can do for that. Does that help?
It does help.
Great. Awesome. So, and then Helen, in terms of...
But ideally, it's going to...
Sorry, go ahead, Craig.
I was going to say, but ideally, that image is already with the blog post as opposed to an add-on at LinkedIn?
Yes.
True? Okay.
Ideally, yes. But sometimes I'm just posting a picture and text in LinkedIn, not a link out to something else. So there are different things that...
why would you do that?
Because it's just a social post. It's not a blog. So I post on social media more frequently than I write blog posts. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So on Remembrance
Helen, what's your business?
Oh, it's called Life Works Well, HR with Heart, which is human relations instead of human resources. I actually help businesses when they're growing with their people strategy to align it with their business strategy. And try to put the heart and soul back into people.
Awesome. Craig, why don't you share what
Okay.
you do? And we've got Evelyn who's just joined us as
Hi.
well. Hi, Evelyn.
Hi.
Craig,
Can
do
you
wanna-
see me okay?
We can't see you at all.
I don't see.
Oh,
No.
I'm on my phone, so this is let me
It's-
try.
There
Oh,
you
there
are.
Okay.
Awesome.
There you go.
Nice to see you.
Hello.
Okay,
Hey,
so
hey,
Helen
Evelyn.
introduced herself. Craig, why don't you just give everybody the 2-minute what you do?
Sure. I'm an attorney in Chicago and primarily plaintiff's personal injury and criminal defense. And I was with Laura a couple weeks ago for brand camp and came up with a brand foundation, and it's Calming the Chaos. And we're working on logo
Yeah.
stuff right now.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah. The essence, because Craig is this calm in the chaos that is the, lives of his clients. So it was a really, really cool experience. Yeah.
Right.
We had lots
Right.
of fun that weekend. Evelyn, you want to
Yeah, for
introduce
sure.
yourself?
Yeah, hi. Sorry, I look like I just rolled out of bed, which I did early this morning and just hit my desk working. That's one of the things of working at home. So I didn't even brush my hair or anything before the call. So my apologies.
No worries.
I know. So anyway, so I'm still struggling a little bit with the clarity around the brand. Laura from the brand camp that we did earlier was it in September that we did it?
September. Yeah.
So so we've done the work with the colors and font and so on, some of that, but I still need some more work around the actual name. So I think we decided so I do restorative Pilates, specifically a lot of clients dealing with chronic pain and restoring their body into not just treating the symptoms of pain, but what's different about this is that we're actually changing what's causing the pain. So it's a movement education that they're getting. They're not getting treatments. It's not hands-on adjusting and stuff. They're getting a knowledge about their body and an understanding of how their body is working and how they're using their body and how that's creating their pain. So it's changing movement patterns, changing alignment, creating awareness. I also apply this method to a lot of athletes. Specifically, I've worked with equestrians and cyclists and gym people and so on. Right now, the last several years, I've been working with figure skaters for their performance. So I have some high-level figure skaters, competitive skaters. Some are on the national team and so on. And so we use it for preventing injury, restoring imbalances, because every sport creates a lot of imbalances. So that's it in a nutshell.
Great. Thanks, Evelyn. And we'll chat offline about the naming
Sure.
stuff. Okay. So can you all see my screen?
Yep.
Great.
Yes.
There we go. If you have any questions, feel free to pop in and, or just ask. We're a small group, so let's keep it, I want this to be really valuable for you. Helen, you were asking a question about frequency, and we'll just chat, make sure we cover that right now. And I think I'd rather you post once a day than 4 times one day and none the next. And you know what I mean? So I think for most people, if you could post something once a day, or even if it's a share or comment, like make a goal to get onto some social media, whatever that might be, every day, because it's the consistency. You don't want to go, for a week and be consistent and then don't post again for a week. And then, if you can post, or if it's every other day, it has to be something you can maintain, because if it's not maintainable, then you'll never do it. And so it's got to be something. Everybody's unique. Some people are posting 3-4 times a day because they have somebody helping them with that. Or they've got way too much free time and they're just spending a lot of it on social media. Right. So I make sure that I have a plan, and we're going to talk a bit about that, but I have a plan. And so every morning you'll notice that I typically post around 8 o'clock in the morning on Instagram, specifically if you're on Instagram, as I'm drinking my morning coffee. I'm like but we've already created, I know what I'm posting. I don't always know what I'm going to write, but I know what picture I'm going to be sharing. So that's why I'm consistent on a platform like Instagram, is because I've created a plan. So I'm going to give you some tools in that you can use for that today. So, all right, so we're going to talk about some stats just so you can understand the importance of it. The different platforms, sort of the big ones that you can do, because you don't have to do all of them. And I think a lot of people feel like they have to do everything, and you don't. Then we're going to talk about some planning tools, how to use hashtags, and then some tools that can help you with consistency. And the idea is not to get overwhelmed. It's just to understand that visibility is really important in your business, and social media is not going anywhere, and it's becoming more and more important because a lot of people they want to see you across multiple platforms, or at least, they may not see you on your website, but they might see you on a platform like LinkedIn and then go to your website. But if you're not on LinkedIn, they don't know who you are, don't know you exist, because a lot of people are on a platform like LinkedIn. So again, we can chat about, for each of you, what might be the optimal platform for you.
Question.
Yes.
So you say you post on Instagram. Do you then take that same post and then put it on Facebook and then on LinkedIn? So do you just take the same posts and put them on different platforms?
Yeah. So I have inside Instagram, you can have it pushed to Facebook. So everything I post on Instagram goes directly to my Facebook business page. LinkedIn,
so you don't have to
it differently. Sorry, what was that?
I was going to say, so you don't have to physically do it yourself. It just automatically.
No.
Oh, good.
And there are some outside planning tools, and I'll give you some names of those. And some of them have some free options that would give you enough to get started. So you can pre-plan your posts, and then you don't have to think about it. It just automatically pushes it out to your social media and across different platforms. So I'll show you some of that as well. So in terms of social media, some stats, there's 3.2 billion social media users worldwide. So that's a huge population of people, right?
Yeah. It is, yeah.
Facebook is the most popular social media platform. I mean, I use Facebook more from a personal perspective. I have a private Facebook page for family and friends and some, people I've met through work, but it's mostly for me, that's kind of like the friends and family, like picture. You'll see a lot more pictures of my kids and my vacations, but the way the algorithms work, I get very few eyeballs on my Facebook business page. So they're constantly changing these things. I personally get more from Instagram. So I just have that pushed directly to Facebook, and I spend a very little bit of time on my Facebook business page, but I still need to be there because people will tag me in things, and people will, like today I'm being interviewed on a Facebook Live. So there's certain reasons why I need to be on Facebook. And you just spend an average of 2 hours and 22 minutes a day on social media networks and messaging. So that's a really big amount of time that people are spending. So you want to make sure that people are seeing you when you're, I have a courier who just walked in the door. You want to make sure that people are seeing you when they're scrolling through their social media. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what you were saying was that you develop your posts for Instagram and automatically push them to Facebook Business, even though that it's almost incidental. Is that right? Because your goal is not to populate your business page, but because of the presence that you want to maintain.
Well, I mean, it is, because there will get some eyeballs on it, but there's just much, like I'll get on a post I share on Instagram, I could get 30, 40, 50 likes on it and comments, and I'll get 3 on Facebook, and 1 is my mom. Like seriously, she's like my biggest fan. So like my mom has typically she'll like everything. And then I actually heard that from an algorithm perspective, you want your mom to stop liking your because it doesn't help you. It helps only your family, like people who know my mom. That's not relevant to my. So it's kind of the Wild West in many ways, and there's still a lot of aspects that I don't understand, and even social media experts don't, because it's constantly changing. Also, 91% of social media users are looking on their mobile device. So, you know, you want your content to be easy to read. So if you're thinking about scrolling, like, have you ever gotten that email from somebody and you're reading it on your phone and it's like, it just scrolls, it goes on and you feel overwhelmed reading it? People are digesting social media that way. So the best thing to do is to actually keep like lots of space. Like, don't write it in big chunky paragraphs, really break it down so that it's super easy for people to read and not overwhelming to them. This is something to consider.
Laura, can I ask a question? Sorry.
Sure.
Craig, did you want to finish your thought or?
No, so Laura, you had a post yesterday, and that had large spaces between the sentences. It was all kind of chunked short sentences. Is that kind of what you're referring to?
Absolutely.
Because that was really easy to read on my phone. I was looking at it on my phone as opposed to something else.
Yeah.
So that's a good example of what you're...
Exactly. Yeah. You want to write not like you were taught to write, in terms of like, this is a paragraph and this is like, if you can, sometimes I have one, it's like 2 words or 1 word, and then I'll put a space, and then you want it to almost feel like they're, you know, it's just an easy story for them to read and less overwhelming.
So is there a word count that you're hoping for?
Not necessarily. There's different schools of thought. There's sort of the short format post and the long format post. I don't read long format posts. I shut down after, like, you know, I'll get halfway and I was like, oh, forget it, I'm out. So that's me personally. I know some people love these long story format, and they go on and on and on. Personally, I never read those because they're just too much content for me to consume. I want the short, snappy. So I try to keep mine really tight and concise with like, you know, with some thought and not too short. So it's, you know, you don't want to have one line, but you want to kind of, and it's always good to end with maybe a question, or to get that engagement. It's really good to ask people to, you know, share your story, or like, what do you think? Or like, you want to kind of try to engage people in conversation. Yeah.
So why did you use Medium?
I'm experimenting with Medium to see, you know, if I can get more eyeballs that wouldn't see me on, you know, my blog or through my email list. So it's just, I'm still experimenting with where to post content, and seeing what works. So I'm going to try to do more. I'm going to try to be more active in my own blog and periodically posting articles on Medium as well. It's a lot of it is experimentation and seeing where your audience is, and building something and spending a bit of time to see what's the reaction and how can I build up that presence.
Okay, can I ask a question now?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I feel like you're taking over here. Sorry, Craig, because otherwise I need us to take a step back if we can. If I could just ask something, because I'm going to lose my train of thought.
Okay.
I just want us to take a step back to say, when we're trying to decide the platforms, and, you know, when I started out, I had my personal page, just me.
Yeah.
And then when I was at ADP, I did a lot of business, but I still used my personal. And now that I have my business logo and the pages, I'm trying to figure out, you know, the linking. So you mentioned, you know, you post an Instagram, and then you link. Do you have only a business page in Facebook, or do you have 2?
No,
like, so
I have a
when
personal.
Okay.
And sometimes I will share something from my business page into my personal page. So you can share between those.
Okay. But because in Facebook, I have my personal, and then there's a page for the business.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. Do I actually have to set it up so Instagram will put it to the business page versus, okay. And I have to figure that out, because I don't know how to do that. I just have it to It just says Facebook,
That's-
and it's going to my HM Patterson as opposed to my business one.
And I remember doing that, and I don't remember exactly how to do
Okay.
that. So I'll try to find that out for you, and I'll share it.
Yeah, and
the
so
Facebook group.
with this, because this is where I'm trying to decide, like now that I have the logo and the business platform, I need to figure out a cadence in posting to the business, which I haven't really started,
Yeah.
versus me as a person,
Mhm.
individual. And so maybe we could kind of chat, take a step back. I mean, if it's just business, I just need to kind of shift away from my personal one, right?
Yeah, you want
And-
to try to shift your business content to that, and you can invite people to your business Facebook page through Facebook, which is probably what you want to do. You want to start getting people to follow your
Yeah, because there's people viewing it, but I haven't put any content
Yeah.
yet. And
So that's
because I'm very active in the personal side, and a lot of it's personal and business, and it's all mashed, right? So
Right,
I kind
yeah.
of am trying to, this is why I wanted to do this coaching, and just try to take a step back to say, before we create the plan and
Mhm.
all those posts and the, making them look in my brand colors and think about the cadence and the content, it's like, just even that technical part is like, how do I go about that? And do you recommend, like, hey, let's start with a launch, by the way, here's my new logo, my business.
Yeah,
And
so we'll plan all of that out. And so what
Okay.
I
sorry to interrupt, Craig.
That's
okay.
okay. So I think, the more you can stick with business on a business page and personal on a personal page with a little bit of overlap, that's fine. But you shouldn't be sharing a lot of your personal life. You want to share enough so people see the human side to your business and your brand, but not so much that they're like, why are they sharing pictures of their lunch and their kids and their dog and their whatever they're doing? So
Yeah.
it's, that's part of that. So we can get into, we can do another one and do deep dives, maybe more so into specific social medias, if that's something of interest to each of you. So, stats.
Thank you.
No problem. So 90% of millennials are on active social media, 77% of Gen Xers, and 48% of baby boomers. So there's a lot of different, the baby boomers are probably the least active, but you can see that depending on where your clientele fits, they're more than likely on social media. And people use social media to get recommendations, and recommendations and referrals are huge, especially for millennials. So if you're on social media and you're active, it's much easier for you to be top of mind and to be referable to your potential people. So let's take a look at some of the social media platforms. The top social ones are actually YouTube has some of the most, so they have 2 billion monthly active users. And video content is huge, really huge. You want to be starting to think about how you can potentially integrate video. You may not be ready for that, but video is absolutely the way that things are going with online. LinkedIn, I think that should be million, not billion. 24 million monthly active.
Are you sharing your slides? Because I only
will.
see the first one. Oh, okay. It's still just on your first one. I didn't know if you were going through some or
yeah,
not.
I'm going through. Can you see the?
No, all I see is the first page.
Title page.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why when you were saying, oh, you can see the stats, I'm like, okay, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Can you see this?
Yes,
Yep.
now.
Oh,
yes, top
sorry.
social.
You haven't been able to see my slides. Okay. Well, I will share them with you anyway, so you can.
Okay, no,
them.
this is great. Now I see what you're referring
Got it.
to.
Well, thank you for letting me know. I've been like reading stats off the screen.
And by the way, I love your brand colors.
Okay, thanks. So you can see the amount of users. I think some of these numbers should be million. I have to double check that actually, because I have a feeling that LinkedIn is actually 294 million. So there's a lot of people active on social media, but it's finding the right one for you. So Instagram, Craig, that may not be your platform.
Don't think it is.
Right? And that's totally okay. But a
Right.
platform like LinkedIn and maybe Twitter would be. Right? Or Facebook, getting into Facebook groups where you were talking about connecting with the churches and different places like that. Very groups, but they have those on LinkedIn too. So it's finding where the people you can connect with. So, you know, you don't have to do all of them, but you need to probably pick one or two and try to build up your connections there and start testing to see. But it can be a long game. Like, social media is not necessarily an immediate, you know, I post something and I get a client. It's about consistency and visibility and repetition, right? So I've had people who I've been connected to on LinkedIn contact me a year after or so we've been connected, saying, oh, I've been following you and this and that, and they want to talk about working together. So it can be the long game, but it can be a short game, but it's something that it's just about visibility and presence that's really important.
Right. So one of the things that you were talking about before was YouTube and the use of it. So whenever you post videos, you're utilizing the same look that you have right now, where you've got that background, typically yellow, correct? And is that purposeful and intentional so that there's consistency, so that when people think of you, they think of that from a video standpoint?
I mean, that's a good question. I don't always do the videos here, but I definitely do majority of them. And I try to make sure I'm wearing something that, you know, but I don't want to wear the same thing all the time so people think it's the same video. So I try to think about that aspect. But I've also started doing a video where I'm walking to the office and I'm like holding my phone and kind of talking into the camera while I'm walking. And so that's a bit more casual.
Right.
The ones where I'm doing it here, it's like I have a specific message. I'm trying to talk about something in under a minute. I'll try to add the subtitle, like the text, so somebody can read it. I'll try to do that on YouTube. It can get kind of cumbersome sometimes to do all of these things. So video might not be the thing, but if you don't have a huge following, you could always experiment with video because you know that maybe not that many people are going to see it. And it could be just getting used to it and getting in front of the camera. And, you know, but you want to have something, you don't want to run on and on and on. You want to have something short and kind of snappy with a call to action at the end.
Right. Okay. And so, for instance, when you're doing that in the setup, is that something that you're capturing on your laptop?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My laptop or my phone. You want to get good lighting. So right now I don't have too bad lighting and my laptop has a good camera, but I have an extra, it's like a selfie light. So that if you have not great lighting, you have a light that will make you, you don't want to look like you've got dark circles. You don't want it to look grainy. Like, you want it to look as great as possible because that helps with that level of professionalism.
Okay.
Right. So if the more, and most people are shooting the little videos on their phones and you can edit them on your phone. You can cut it if you don't like the intro, you can do a lot of things even just with your phone. So in terms of planning apps, there are 3 that I knew of, and I checked with some other people just to see. Somebody is calling me. And these 3, so Later, Hootsuite, and Buffer, they all have a free plan. And so I've put, like Later, you can have 4 social accounts. So as an example, you could have LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And you can pre-schedule 30 posts. So you could do like a daily post per month, and you just set it and leave it. The challenge with that is that, and this is what I've heard, is that if you pre-schedule and something really big happens in the world and you're posting something at a time that it feels inappropriate to be posting, you want to still at least be thinking about what you're sharing. So that if, I'm trying to think, there was an example that came up, like if there's a big terrorist attack or something happens and you're posting something, it might seem insensitive at that time to be posting something on social media promoting your business.
That's a good point.
Businesses getting really slammed for doing this, especially big brands.
Wow. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's probably not as, but you want to be somewhat sensitive to like what's going on in the world. so that, but it also helps you if something topical related to what you do happens in the media, you want to be sharing or commenting on social media about that thing. And that you would do, that wouldn't be something you would use a scheduler for. And then Hootsuite and Buffer, again, they have, you know, free plans where you can have up to 3 social accounts and a certain number of scheduled posts. I've used Hootsuite. I have not used the other 2, but I've, in a forum that I'm part of, a lot of people, I asked, what are your preferred platforms? And these were the 3 that came up repeatedly. There were some others, but they were very specific to only one platform, like Instagram or just this or that. So there's a lot of options, but I chose 3 to share with you that are free. And, you know, so if you want to do a deep dive into like Hootsuite, I can give you, I can like do another small video where I show you the back end and how I would do that.
That would be great. Yeah, that would be
using it because I actually had my assistant, who's no longer with me, creating all of that. So once I have somebody again, another assistant, I'm going to have her with the schedule.
Laura.
Yep.
Laura, on that. So an example, a friend of mine recently, she was working with an architect designer for decorating her condo or something. And it was funny because she did notice on Remembrance Day that they just started. I'm surprised that this business wasn't on Instagram. They just started their account recently. And she said it turned her off right away because they put this picture of a private client's like amazing wine cellar and nothing on Remembrance Day. And I'm like, it's amazing how one little thing can impact you as a consumer, right? And so she's like, it turned me right off. I mean, I probably won't work with him again. I'm like, that's so little, but interesting.
Yeah. It really, people are, it's something, there's that sensitivity of just taking that moment to not, and there was also, who's the fashion designer? Paul McCartney's daughter. What's her name?
Ella?
Yeah, she commented about, it was great to see Meghan Markle wearing our coat for the special Remembrance Day ceremony. And she was just slaughtered in the media because they were like kind of the audacity to try to like sell it's our, fall 2019, you can buy it, blah, blah, blah. And it was like a promotion for this coat that Meghan Markle was wearing for this. So it was just distasteful in how it became a sales pitch to sell her product. So it's just about having some sensitivities around dates, occasions, what's happening, so that you are not sharing something that seems inappropriate and turns people off. So that's it's an interesting conversation to really start to have, like, what should you share? And I had a client who said they were like they posted one thing about Remembrance Day that day, and they were taking a total break from social media, not promoting their business at all that day to kind of give the space. So there's lots of different schools of thought, but I think it's just being thoughtful around these things. So in terms of hashtags, so hashtags are you all familiar with hashtags?
Yes.
I heard the name.
You heard the name. You know what it looks like. Evelyn, do you use hashtags at all when you post?
Not at all. I'm not into that yet. I need to learn.
Yeah.
And so anything you could share, I will gobble up.
So
is it applicable to things other than Twitter?
Yes. So Instagram, you can do it a little bit on LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedIn, it's not, you can, but I use it a lot on Instagram. So what I've done is, and this is something I learned from a digital marketing expert who helped me for my book launch, is she said, so we created 3 buckets of, which I've shared here. So these are my 3 kind of, so I have a branding bucket of hashtags, a small medium business bucket of hashtags, and then an entrepreneur's bucket of hashtags. And because you can only post so many hashtags at a time, like on Instagram, you can only use, I think, up to 30. So what I was taught is to actually, and I keep all of these are in a note in my phone. So what I would suggest each of you do some research around hashtags relevant to your business to see what are people using, because that helps you with visibility. If you post, so my following has grown by probably 500 since I started using this technique. So what I've done is, and this is more specific for Instagram. So what I was taught to do is copy and paste each of these into a comment. So not in the body of your content. And then every few hours you delete that. And then I replace. So if I start in the morning with the branding bunch, then a few hours later, I'll delete that. I'll add in the next bunch of hashtags. Then I'll delete that and I'll go back and replace it with the final. So over the course of the day, it's seen as somebody commenting, and it helps bump up the visibility of the post. Ooh. And then more people, it's like it refreshes the content for people. So just like anything, the more comments your LinkedIn post gets, the more eyeballs get on it. So you want engagement, you want comments. I've also learned that you typically want comments longer than 4 words. So, some people just post, and that you need to comment too. So if you just have people commenting with an emoji or a thumbs up or a one word, it's less effective than a short sentence. So I found that the more comments and shares or likes that a post gets on any platform, the more eyeballs see it. So I have one post on LinkedIn that was a picture my son took of me with my books when I launched my book, that's been viewed over 12,000 times. And I have about 1,500 connections on LinkedIn. And it's because it was a great photo. And the number of comments and shares and likes meant that people in their networks were seeing it. So it just got to really spread. So you're not always going to get that. Most of my posts aren't like that, but it's the more you can create engagement, the more, and then that also requires you to jump onto some of these platforms and comment yourself on other people's posts.
Yeah. So I have a question on that, Laura.
Yeah.
So I noticed on Instagram, some people, they must use, I think there's an Instagram business or something. There must be a profile, because you know how people use the little dots and then all the space, and then they have all their hashtags at the bottom of the actual post versus in the comment. Should you be doing both or just one or the other?
I mean, sometimes if I have something really specific I'm posting about, I'll find some hashtags that would be relevant to that. But it's because you want comments, I was taught that it's better to put the hashtags in a comment.
Yeah, because people follow the hashtags. Like I follow a few.
Yeah.
And I noticed on LinkedIn, which is really interesting, that because I put one post and it was so funny because it wasn't a blog, it was just a random post I put on, and I put a few hashtags. One of them was talent acquisition, and it got the most views I've ever got of anything. It was and it was so random. I was just ranting about something, but it's like knowing what the hashtags are that work. What are other people following? It's like you said, it's experimentation. And I haven't done the work in determining my key ones. Like I kind of use some that I use over and over again, but I haven't analyzed the rhythm yet. So I love that and was this something that you'd help us with, like come up with hashtags? Or
I had somebody do this for me. So
okay. But we would just research basically what are we following? What are others following that would be our potential clients? That kind of stuff.
If you have people that would be in a similar industry to you, look at what hashtags they're using.
Okay.
Right?
No, this is very helpfor. And I'm finding it is growing on LinkedIn, the hashtags. I'm surprised.
It's definitely not as active for sure. But that's definitely something. And I found that it's really helped to grow our following in particular.
And I do like the comment idea, because then you're not like scrolling on the actual content. It's separate, right? So if someone was just reading it, they don't need to like, go all the way down. But
Yeah.
it's interesting. Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. So anybody have any other questions about hashtags?
So I didn't get the whole hashtag thing when I followed a few people's hashtags. I didn't see the connection and the relevance, and so maybe they were just poorly done. So when I tried clicking on the hashtags, and they were in the body of the post, not in the comments, I thought, what's this got to do with anything? And so maybe because my experience wasn't a good one, or wasn't a positive one, or anything that helped to deepen the experience, I just didn't bother. I thought, I don't have time for this.
Yeah,
So,
and that can be, it's, you want your hashtags to be relevant to what you do.
Yeah, and I think they weren't relevant, the ones that I initially sort of clicked on and tried to follow.
Yeah.
So maybe it just seemed like there was a whole pile of them, and I thought, when I started going through them, I thought, I haven't got time to waste, so I just went on and didn't continue.
Yeah. So I created a couple of little videos on my phone just to kind of run through. Can you see that?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So I just did a phone recording to just kind of show you. So this is Instagram. So I know, Craig, this is probably not relevant for you, but I wanted to kind of show sort of just a quick how to actually post. So I've just added a photo, typing in a comment. What's great about this too, and I think you can do it on pretty much every platform, is you can tag people. So, I went in and I tagged us so that that person gets notified. Then I also added in our location. So then it gets posted. I just did it very quick because it was just a demo. And then you can see here in my notes, I have all these hashtags saved on my phone. So I don't have to think about, type them out. I just copy, and then I go and I paste them into the comment.
Right.
And so anybody I tag, typically, like I posted a different post this morning and I tagged the client that was about, and then she commented. And there's my legs, because I don't know why my camera was on. That was really funny. Yeah, so that kind of gives you the sense of that. And then I wanted to show you, do any of you use stories, Instagram stories?
Yeah, I do occasionally.
So
you tell me what it is, because my kid does.
I feel like I need to know this.
It's funny. I would say, and I know, Craig, I don't know your last name, but sorry, I'd look you up. But I know quite a few law firms in Toronto that use Instagram.
Really?
Because again, with demographics changing, all businesses are missing out if they're not. So again, not to complicate, you may want to just start with LinkedIn and Twitter, but I am on it. I know lots of law firms that I follow that are mainly employment HR law firms, because that's who I follow. I don't follow all the personal injury ones, but you might want to just check it out, like on your son's account even, and say, let's look up to see all these law firms and if they're using Instagram or not.
I think we could definitely come up with a plan. Like we're doing this for Helen right now and another client, where we're actually helping to create what content they're going to be sharing, photographs and messages, testimonials. So it really, really looks and flows beautifully. And it's not random stuff, because that's what a lot of people do when they're in an industry where they're like, I don't know what to post. It's if you can plan it out, you could actually create a really compelling, and then if competitors of yours are on there or they're not, then that's something that could be useful as well. So an Instagram story. So what I showed you, that post, that's your it's like a grid, right? So it's what people see when they come to your page. So you want them to kind of have a nice flow and a look and feel. So if you scroll through my Instagram, you'll see that there's a system, there's a flow between colors and what we post. Stories are more for sharing stuff. It's more for those impromptu, like the other day I was speaking at a conference, so I was sharing images that were shared to me by somebody who was at the event. It's more for those behind the scenes, kind of more impromptu things in your business. So here's how I'll just play this little video. So this was what I posted yesterday. So you click on that little camera icon in the top. There's that photo I was telling you about. I found, just
Love it.
you can
That was
type.
the one that you're sit. That was
Yeah,
the one
my
your son took.
son took. Yeah.
Okay.
So, you can type something. What I always tell people is try to be consistent in the font you choose here. You're limited in what you can do, but you'll notice I typically will use this font. I'll put it on a background color, either black or white. Then what I do to keep it clean and tidy, and I learned this trick, is I post some hashtags, shrink them down, and then I hide them behind my block of text.
Ooh.
I know that was quick, and then you can
No, but that's it. I need work. You told me one of my posts was brutal.
With love,
Yes.
So, then you can find something. So I just added a little, sometimes people like a little bit of movement. So an arrow that might point to something. I don't know. I was just created this to show you, but I've seen posts where they've got hashtags everywhere and posts and links, and it's so visually overwhelming. So if you hide those hashtags, they're still there. They're still searchable in your stories, but they're not, people don't see them. They're not visually distracting, which I thought was a really great tip. And I just find that it's so much cleaner and looks, it's so much more beautiful for people to see, because we're so overwhelmed with content and words every day that the more you can give people really great content, and just by hiding those hashtags in there, you can still be found, but you're not cluttering it up with that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go back to.
Laura, on your slide it says hashtags. You've got it.
I know.
misspelled.
I realized.
Right.
I knew the lawyer would pick that up. I already did, but I didn't say anything.
You guys caught me. I'm not perfect. There you go. That was
good.
A test.
It was a test.
It was a test. Love it.
Sure,
Was it a test to see if we could keep our mouths shut? I failed then.
No,
Helen, you won.
I thought it. I was going to let her know later.
Yeah. So the next thing is really about consistency, and that can be around frequency. That comes into play when we're looking at colors and fonts and the images that you're posting, the quality of the images. So that's all really important. And there's some different tools that you can use, which I'm sharing the names for here. Canva is probably the tool that if if we teach you how to use it, which I will be, I know, Helen, we're going to be training you on that. And I can even do a bit of a training on that. So basically it's creating an option for you who don't have design programs like me to create your own content for social media. And I'll do a quick tutorial just to show you how you can create that. Planoly is something for Instagram. That's for grids and your stories. So if you're really active on, in fact, the Canva is to create content for any platform. The bottom three, Planoly, Unum, and Unfold, are all specifically Instagram related. We use Unum for planning out the grid and how our social is going to look. And I use Unfold to create some stories if I want to have more than 2 pictures. And so those are a couple of apps that you can download to your phone. And what it allows you to do is actually create a grid for your social media. So you can see if I post this picture today and this one tomorrow and this one the day after, what are those 3 pictures going to look like together? So it just creates a more cohesive look. So I'll show you a couple of things. Instagram. So here's my, there's Does anybody watch the Great Canadian Baking Show?
No.
Craig, you probably don't because you're in the States. This Colin, he's who's on the screen right now, is he was one of the finalists. And my son ran into him on the streetcar one day and got a selfie with him. He's like a little mini celebrity as he's on this like Canadian baking show. And it was like, my son was like starstruck. I thought that was the cutest thing. So this is called your grid on Instagram. So these are the pictures that people, if they're scrolling, they can see. So you'll notice on ours, there's a flow, right? There's a picture of me with that kind of burgundy top on. Then Patricia beside me there, the background has that burgundy. Then we've, so we try to create a color flow. I mean, we're designers and creatives, so this is important, really important to what we do. But you can see that even like the transition between sort of Lemonade Life with the lemon, and there's a video of me with my yellow shirt and then a yellow. So you can kind of see that we give a lot of thought to what this looks like. As you just kind of scroll, there's Helen's Life Works Well brand.
Lovely. I love it.
Right. So you can see that we try to really transition from colors and inject pictures of us or pictures of our clients, just to give that personal feel. And so I get more engagement with the pictures of me than I do of typically most of the work for our clients. But I can't have just pictures of me because that would be boring and I would unfollow me because I don't like seeing lots of pictures of just, so we need to have a combination of us behind the scenes and the people behind Lab Creative. And we need to show the work we do for our clients. I also use this opportunity to share testimonials. And so we've created a look and a feel for, this is like things our clients say, business goals, this one here. But it's like interesting that it's like the picture of me with my family at my book launch party that had the most likes and comments, because people want to see the person behind the business. So that's relevant for all of you for sure. So what I wanted to do is actually give you a bit of a behind the scenes of Canva. And Barb is not with us, which is unfortunate because I was going to use her as an example. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, this is Canva. Actually, I'm going to show you something else, just so you can understand what this is all about. So let me make sure that file is open. She'll see it in the replay.
This is nice.
Too many things open here. Okay. Sorry, I'm jumping, I realize.
So that looked like, so you were in Canva, that was like a testimonial in there? Oh,
yeah,
that
exactly.
looks nice.
So this is a
nice
grid we created for Barb, our client. So I'm assuming you can see it starts with, so this is her new brand in the bottom right-hand corner, Barb Ivy. So it kind of starts from the bottom up in terms of when she would post. So what we've done is we've created the grid for her social media so that when somebody comes on, they'll see, once she's posted all of these, this is what people will see. And she's an interior designer, so design especially really matters to her. But some of these are just pictures, right? But some of them have text and images and her logo. So what we wanted to do is actually create a way for her to create those. So when she gets a new testimonial, she can create it herself in Canva. Mm-hmm. So I've just kind of created this. So I'll show you how I did that. I will go home, create a design. So then I want to create a social media post. Right, so here I have basically a blank thing, and you can choose different formats. This is a square because it's for Instagram, but I'm assuming we can find, different right? You can do a Facebook post, Instagram post, Twitter. So you can basically get the correct size for whatever kind of post you want to do, which is cool.
And so Laura, just to back up, for this client, did you use the free?
Yep.
Free Canva? Because there's okay. So
well,
because I think there's a charge maybe.
I think it depends. So then you download it. And I think there's certain templates that you have to pay for. But if we're creating you custom templates, I think you can use just the free version.
Okay. Yeah. As long as, because long as the brand colors are available and all that. Okay.
So what I did is I went here to background and I added her color. So, Craig and Evelyn, you don't have this yet, but Helen, you do. You have your brand guidelines document. And so what you do is you can find it's called a hex color, and it'll be in your brand guidelines document. And then you just copy and paste that number into here, right behind
where
the
did you do it?
hashtag.
Oh, okay, right. Okay.
So this would get replaced. I'm just
because it's custom, right, or whatever.
Exactly. So if I go, I can.
Cool.
You can't see it, but I'm copying and pasting Barb's one of her colors. So I'm just going to paste that here. So now that's one of her brand colors. So you'll recognize that from what I showed you. So then you would want to go to text, and I'm going to say, add a subheading, and then I can go back to, I can just say. This is
the text is, we can use the font that is in the brand guidelines too. Do they have them all or not necessarily?
Not necessarily. So what you want to do is we can help you find something that works. That's the closest. That's sort of what we would recommend.
Yeah. So Laura, you're helping me with this. If we do it in my account, then I can have those saved, right?
Exactly. So then you would just go back, and if you want to change the background color to a different color, you have the power to create your own content and mix that in with, then you don't need to come to us all the time to create things. So we create the templates for you, and then your job is to just add, I got a new testimonial, or I need to add something. So this is really putting power in your hands so that you don't have to rely on us and pay us all the time to create this content for you. Although we love working with our clients, we know that budgets are not unlimited, and you need to have content all the time.
Yeah.
And, it's not something, because there's tools like this, you don't need us all the time either. So what I did is will all get, and Helen, you have these as well, a PNG. So what we did for Barb is, a PNG is a file that has a transparent background. So this version of Barb's logo, I can just drag it over, and it's white with no background color. So you'll all get a version of your logo like this with a transparent background. So it's easy for you to put it onto a social post.
Is that her actual signature, or is it a script?
It's a custom script that.
Okay.
Yeah. So we supply you with all of the files you need. And if you have questions about how to use them, I wouldn't overuse branding in your social media posts, because I find that gets really intrusive when everything has your logo on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is just a great way, and Canva is a tool. I mean, I don't use it just because I have design programs. So it's not something I personally use because I have other tools, but it's such a great option. My son is now creating like schoolwork posters in Canva, which has been really fun. So you can go in and you can find templates, you can find, all kinds of things. I wouldn't go too deep in this, because the problem is that most people are actually diluting their brand because they're like, ooh, that's a fun font, or I like this background. And then they're putting too much in that's not relevant to their brand. So what we want to do is help you create a really consistent look and feel, which is why creating those grids so that you know what you're posting and you can maintain that consistency. So when somebody sees one of your posts, even if they don't read it and see who it's written by, they know it's you. because of the color, because of the look and feel. And color and fonts really help with brand recognition. So people who are constantly changing these things are really affecting their brand presence. So that's just something to note. I'm trying to remember if I think that was sort of the last piece I wanted to focus on today. And I know it's 12:30. Does anybody have any questions or want a follow-up on a specific, in a deeper dive of something that we talked about?
I don't have anything that I need a deeper dive right now on.
Yeah.
Maybe at another time.
Yeah.
Will you be sharing your slides with us?
Yes.
Okay.
This was
Absolutely.
great. Very
Good.
great. And
Yeah.
I feel like I know a bit, but I have so much to learn. And so,
And we constantly
Yeah.
are. And everything I'm sharing with you are all things that I've learned
Mhm.
from experts in social media and implemented or tested in my own business. So, while I'm not a social media expert, these are all tools that can get you to the next level and really help you at least get that consistent, visible online presence, which a lot of people really struggle with because they don't know what to post. And it's those little tips and tricks that can help you really build your following. Like I said, we're at about 1,300 followers right now on Instagram, and we had
Wow.
about 800 in April.
Wow.
So
And
by
that's all
posting
great. It's all,
consistently and using
Yeah.
that hashtag in the comments and really trying to a bit more engagement, that alone has really helped. And I just secured my first client through Instagram directly.
wow.
Wow.
So but it's not always a direct ROI. It's about visibility. So I don't want you to think, what's the return on this? It's about
Mhm.
eyeballs on your brand and getting people just to know who you are and really showing what you do best.
That's
Interesting.
Awesome.
Thanks,
So
Laura.
if any of you have any other questions, feel free to share it in the group. I'm happy to answer. I can do a little tutorial video if anybody wants something specific, and I'll share it there. And, let me know if you need me to look at something for your social media. Happy to provide any guidance I can.
So this has
Excellent.
been videotaped,
Yes.
so
I'm
I can
gonna
go
share
back
it.
and refer. Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Because I've
Awesome.
been scribbling away notes, but I know that I've got some gaps.
For sure.
Yeah.
Thanks
And
so
we can
much.
chat on Facebook and learn from each other. That's the whole beauty of the community.
Yeah.
If you
somebody
have a
learns
question,
something.
I mean, I'm learning a few tricks as I go too, but
Yeah.
it's good, and also connect with each other on social media. So
Yeah.
I'll look you two up later, and
Check on
you know,
LinkedIn. Let's
yeah, it's
LinkedIn,
growing.
and we'll share your a link to your LinkedIn or any social platforms you're on. Not this personal, like you don't need to obviously connect with people on a personal page, but if you have a Facebook, if you have Instagram, if you have LinkedIn, post the links to that, and then everybody can share each other and help support along the way.
Excellent.
Amazing.
Thank
All right.
you very much.
Thanks, everybody.
Nice to
Bye,
meet you.
everyone.
Bye. Take care.
You too.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
great
Take care,
day,
everybody.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.